How to become more attractive as a man. The way you shape yourself into an attractive man who's desired by women so that you can find the right girlfriend or wife is by improving your communication skills. You have to understand that how women view you entirely depends on their perception of you. It's basically the same thing. And that is created through communication. Obviously, there are certain factors such as looks, ginger hair, skin color, and certain women will never want to date a guy with ginger hair. I know Fernanda can't imagine that, but it is true that there are plenty of women, millions and millions of women in the world, who would look at that and say, nope, that's not my target audience. So obviously there are these types of factors. But remember, we're only talking about those types of women who are naturally already within your target audience, with whom you have a sufficiently high degree of compatibility regarding your personality, your looks, and your values, and all of that. So that is the target audience we're talking about. Unfortunately, most men have never developed communication skills in the area of dating and relationships that would allow them to create the degree of attraction that's necessary for women to feel genuine burning desire inside of them to want to be with that person. Now, these men might be excellent at communicating in business. You might be killing it in business or your career. Perhaps, maybe you're young and ambitious, maybe you're old and rich, maybe you're something in between. You may be really good at communicating with people in general. Maybe you suck, doesn't matter. But even if you're really good at communicating with people in general, you still suck at communicating with women right now. Even if you think you don't, you suck. How do I know that? Well, you don't have an amazing girlfriend or wife in your life. Yeah, David, I have some dates every now and then. No, listen to me. If you had excellent communication skills, if you knew how to create and sustain attraction, how to create a man-to-woman connection, then you'd already have a fantastic relationship. If you did have those communication skills, you're waiting for a point to go? That's cool. All right. Okay, boom. See you. If you already had those communication skills, then you'd have the relationship. The fact that you don't have somebody like that in your life lends credence to the fact that you don't have those communication skills, because that's really all it is. Yeah, but David. And now we start listing excuses. Time. I actually wrote this down on Threads the other day. Let me pull this up. If you don't follow me on Threads yet, follow me on Threads. Here, I made a list of excuses. Oh yeah, here, got them. Online dating doesn't work. Women are only on dating apps for hookups. Women only want me for my money. I don't have time to find the right one. There are no traditional women left. I'm just too introverted. Excuses, excuses, excuses. The question really is, what type of a man do you want to be? Do you want to be the type of man who makes excuses? I guarantee you for a fact that in your health, in your fitness, in your career, in the area or areas in your life where you are successful, you have not allowed yourself to make those excuses. But you're making them in the area of dating and relationships because you have an ego. You're clinging on to your ego. You are arrogant. And even if you might not think of yourself as arrogant, you really are currently, because you haven't allowed yourself to seek the help necessary to bring your communication skills in this particular context to the level where it's necessary to be able to create and sustain attraction. You think, oh, whatever, I'm fine, I'm all right, I'll figure it out. You haven't. If you could have figured it out by yourself, you would have already done so. 80% of success in all areas is psychology, 20% is mechanics. In our coaching program, we have mechanics and strategies and techniques, not manipulative bullshit, just it's all based on authenticity and kindness, but good structures and systems on how to create a man-to-woman connection, all that are amazing, that basically take care of all of that for you. But why is it that there are billionaires who are fat when all it takes to lose weight is a simple caloric deficit? How much cognitive computing power does it actually take to understand that you need to reduce the amount of calories? You don't even have to work out to lose weight. I know, I gained weight over Christmas because Fernanda had a mission over Christmas. It was to nest me like a pig for slaughter so that I become less attractive to women around you. Be aware, men, women do that. Yeah, so I gained a bit of weight. Anyway, point of the story is 80% is psychology, 20% is mechanics. It is mindset. You currently have mindset problems, thoughts consciously or unconsciously, that are holding you back from taking the quantity or quality actions necessary to get dates and actually create rapport and interest. But the beautiful thing is, it is just a skill set. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you. You don't have to work on yourself first. By the way, that's the biggest load of nonsense I've ever heard. I need to work on myself first. Learn to approach a woman in public. It's the single best way to work on yourself. If you prefer meeting women online, fine. I don't have a dog in the game. I don't care where your girlfriend or wife comes from. 60, 70% of my clients, they find their girlfriend or wife through online dating, so that's fine. But do that, learn to communicate effectively, and it's one of the single best ways to work on yourself, because it's very difficult to work on your inner self, on your mindset, without engaging with objective reality. You can't just hide in a cave and meditate all day. Meditation is amazing, I'm a huge fan of that. I'm a huge fan of therapy and meditation, all of that good stuff. And gym, yes, great. But none of that will ultimately help you with getting dates and learning the communication skills for a dating specific context. There is nothing else you're lacking other than communication, increased confidence, and an understanding of the dynamics of attraction. That is literally all it takes. You don't have to do backflips. You don't have to become a different person. Yeah, you might have to change your outfit a little bit, but even with that, even with the shittiest outfits you could possibly imagine, you still are able to meet amazing women if you learn storytelling, if you learn how emotional spikes work. It is just a skill set. And you really have to understand that the communication habits you learn at work don't really help you in your dating context. But you already know that, don't you? Because at work, you are rewarded for being extraordinarily concise in your speech. You are rewarded for overthinking at work. In a work meeting, if it's with your employees, if you run a business, with your managers, or your team, if you happen to be the manager, you are rewarded for thinking very carefully about what your oral contribution to the meeting is going to be. You don't just want to utter nonsense. But that doesn't really work well in a dating context, does it? Being on the date, overthinking every word, getting into your head. What if she's going to laugh about this? Is this okay to say? Am I even going to laugh about it? Whatever thoughts go on in your head. What if she rejects me? I hope she likes me. All these nonsensical beta cuck thoughts. And by the way, I'm not talking from a high horse. I can really relate. Remember, I was married to a woman who wasn't right for me. I was the biggest cuck in the entire world. Not in a literal sense, but cuck meaning, and Matthäus, we can maybe show this, cuck equals a man who doesn't communicate his needs authentically. A man who doesn't communicate his opinions authentically. And the beautiful thing is, you can learn to do that. You can learn to speak more honestly. Because at work, you are required to filter yourself. Not only do you have to be concise, not only do you have to overthink, you also have to filter yourself to a very large extent. Because if you didn't filter yourself, you would create an unnecessary amount of friction. You'd create friction with your employees, your peers, your managers, and the workplace, well, it's a place for work. It's a industrious environment. It's a productive environment. Work needs to get done. Certain units of value have to be created. It's not about you sharing your most controversial opinions that upset coworker XYZ. Can't do that there. On a date, you better. On a date, you better remove the filters from your communication. Because if you share your honest thoughts and feelings, for example, the fact that you think that free speech must be protected and that cancel culture is absolutely ridiculous, and you can kind of see where I'm going with this. If you communicate that on a date, and she doesn't happen to agree with that, guess what? You're not right for one another. Because whatever your religious or political beliefs are, the values that are underneath have to be aligned with your future wife. They have to be the same. Compatibility regarding values means the same. Compatibility regarding personality does not mean the same. You do not have to have the same personalities, but you have to have the same values. But you can only discover whether there's compatibility or not if you communicate so unashamedly, so unapologetically, still respectfully, that it unveils or reveals whether it's there. You just go in so raw and so honest that she'll realize, oh, well, this is not what I vibe with. This is not the man that I want to be with. Or she gets really excited. Because remember, most men communicate like lukewarm water. And lukewarm water isn't terrible. Lukewarm water isn't amazing. It's kind of meh. Now, what you want to do instead is you want to be like Moses parting the Red Sea. After an hour on a date with you, she should either love you or hate you. There shouldn't really be anything in between. If she doesn't either have very strong positive emotions towards you or strong negative emotions towards you, not because you were being disrespectful or not calibrated, but because you communicated your values so honestly that you may have gotten offended, right? Well, then you made a mistake. Because remember, the people that you'll have the best and most honest and most fulfilling relationships with, business partners, male friends, your future wife, they are founded on compatibility. Tony Robbins says, selection is the number one criterion, the number one factor for relationship success. That means compatibility, but you can only figure out whether there's actually compatibility or not if you're radically honest. And most men have shitty friendships. Average, I would bet that most of you who are listening to this video right now have average friendships with most men at best. You don't have a lot of high quality male friendships because in that area as well, you are still too filtered. You're still afraid of offending the wrong people. Stop being afraid of offending the wrong people. Now, still be respectful. You don't need to be walking around being a dickhead. Really, kindness is awesome, and I genuinely try to make an effort. Whether it's the guy who works in security, I really don't like people who have status better than the ones who don't. I really don't treat them any better or worse. If you treat me good, I treat you good. And I even give that in advance. I'll give you an advance of respect and trust. Now, then if people violate that, okay, well, then we just distance ourselves or whatever, right? I mean, Patrick Bet-David, he wrote a book called Choose Your Enemies Wisely. So there are some people who really want to mess with you, and then you obviously have to set boundaries in an appropriate fashion. But give kindness first. Now, that's all good, but still, you are way too worried about the opinion of random people. What does it really matter what John Smith thinks of you? You have to understand that men who are really on your side, they will support you as long as you do ethically right things. If you go out there and you get a dating coach, for example, the right men, they will support you. You get coaching in fitness, in finances, in all areas. You learn from other people. But in this area, we got to figure it out ourselves. Absolute and utter nonsense. Complete nonsense. In this area, you are allowed to consult an expert. And let me tell you something. Men, the real friends, male friends who really want to see you win and who are high quality themselves, who are constantly seeking to educate themselves, they will encourage you. Now, they might say, okay, well, you may want to check out whether that guy's actually legit. Check out their testimonials. Go to our website. Watch the testimonials, how we're able to help men, right? Look at our social media presence. Look all that up. Do your due diligence. They're going to tell you that. But they will always encourage you to get the shortcut, because why on earth would you want to waste the next 7 years trying to figure this out by yourself? Now, these types of friendships, in terms of men who want to see you win, are a direct result of removing your own filters and becoming attractive to men. Now, there's the attraction component, the sexual element isn't there, but what it means to be attractive to men means being radically honest. It's okay to be a little bit rough around the edges and sometimes maybe a little bit grumpy or a little bit intense or a little bit over the top. You, your own beautiful, authentic self in whichever crazy way that may manifest itself. It's much better to be a little bit too much you sometimes, but have the right people love you, than to just be nice and try to get on well with everybody at a superficial level, where some people shake your hand and they're politically correct, and the next day they're going to stab you in the back because you know you can't trust them for shit. The best relationships are the ones where you know you can truly trust people. But that only works if you really have the same values in common. So my offer to you is this. Understand that you can become extraordinarily attractive as a man by improving your communication skills. What I would encourage you to do, I would urge you to click the link underneath this video and fill in the application form for a free initial consultation call. During that call, myself or a member from my team, we're going to create a plan for you based on your individual situation. And then we're going to figure out whether or not working together makes sense. This is a major passion of mine. I really care about this. I don't just get to have the most fun job in the world, selfishly speaking. I mean, I get to teach dating and relationships for a living. That's awesome, okay? I've done this way before I've ever gotten paid for it. I really love this, so it's selfishly fun. But the genuine selfless component is the impact. We just get invited again from a client to a wedding. This happens all the time. And these clients, they just end up in relationships. They're so much happier because I don't care about what happens in 100,000 years. My legacy then, I personally don't give a fuck about that. I care about reducing suffering right now, okay? I suffered a lot in the relationship with my ex-wife. I don't say that to get compassion, but in my role as a man, I have to acknowledge that men suffer as well. Women do too, but men as well. And I really care about reducing suffering for men right now and increasing happiness. And I'm not one of those guys who's for men and against women. I just focus on helping men because I happen to be one. And I think that if men, I know that when men improve their communication skills, they become more confident, more grounded, and they understand how social dynamics work, especially in a romantic sense. Women are direct beneficiary of that. They benefit from that. It's not for men against women, or the other people who are on the other side are like for women and against men. It's all nonsense. I want you to be able to have a relationship on eye level. It's absolutely possible. You are this close to it. It doesn't take years. Fill in the application. Let us help you with that. I wish you all the best. Take care.